In this IUL Insiders series, again, my objective is to enable you, empower you actually, to be able to answer all kinds of questions, to help people who are interested in your Index Universal Life Insurance proposal, however they learned about it. This is why I provide tools so that you can give people a book, 300 pages, charts, graphs, explanations. They can turn around and read about 62 client stories if they make decisions right brain. I've given you different illustrations and metaphors, stories on how to illustrate this. And so in this episode, what I want to do is be able to answer the question to the client when they say, well, I've heard that I shouldn't put all of my eggs in one basket, but this sounds so good, but how do I diversify, or how do I stay balanced in my investment portfolio? So what you want to do is be able to tell people for retirement, you want to reposition assets into 4 different buckets. Now, in another episode, I'm going to talk about at retirement planning. Is something totally different than maybe what you did for retirement planning. You'll understand that a little bit here as I go through this process. So in the very last chapter of the left brain side of the book, the white portion, we're talking about how to stay balanced with your clients and their money. So I'm going to go through and show you the 4 buckets. These are 4 areas that most retirees will draw money from. Now, some people retire and they only draw money from 1 or 2 of these buckets, but a lot of people diversify and have money to one degree or another in these 4 buckets. So let me explain it to you, and then you need to be able to turn around and help people understand how to diversify, the advantages, the disadvantages, what percent of their retirement income they ought to have from these 4 different buckets. Because people are usually way out of balance. And your purpose is to balance their life. Because when they have balance, that takes the wobble out of their life. And you will become a lead advisor. They will come to you because they think clearer and more comfortably about their future than they do with anybody else they meet with, because you're not just focused on money. You're not just focused on the insurance. You're focused on keeping them balanced, taking the wobble out of their life in all kinds of ways, not just financially. So that's why I implore you to read a lot of my other books so that you can help people with how to capture their family memories, how to have family vacations with a purpose, how to capture your life history. And people say, what? No, you are missing the boat. That's the magic behind relationships. See, people want leadership from you. They want relationship. They want creativity. So I'm going to share with you something that is so powerful. See, when people come and they're confused or they feel isolated in their set of circumstances, am I going to outlive my money? Or I got laid off, or I've been doing things the wrong way. They feel isolated in their set of circumstances and they feel powerless. So this is not new. For centuries, people feel confused, they feel isolated, and they feel powerless. All I do is I help people clear up their confusion by giving them clarity, new direction. I teach them. So I give them clarity. Oh, if you'll do this, this, and this, you won't outlive your money. This will outperform mutual funds. This will do better than this. This could be used for emergency funds, college funding for your business, all kinds of things. And it also works as a great retirement tool. So all of a sudden, they're confused about money, retirement, balance. And I help them clear up that confusion by giving them leadership and helping them understand how to have clarity. See, if I give them clarity by using leadership, they no longer feel confused. Now, how do you develop relationships? See, when people feel isolated in their set of circumstances, the best way to cure that is by developing a relationship, to be sincerely interested in them, not just interesting. See, when people have come to me, usually it's about them. Not usually, it's always about them. See, most advisors, the person comes in And most advisors go, ooh, look at my accolades. Look at my alphabet soup behind my name. Look at all my certificates. And it's about me, me, me. I've been in business 40 years. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. That's how the person feels. No, it's about them. It's not about you. People come in and I go, so tell me, after being to the seminar or the webinar or reading the book, what did you want to accomplish most by our visit today? They go, wow, I've never been asked that before. Okay. If we were sitting here 3 years from today, 5 years, 10 years from today, what has to have happened in your life during that 5-year period, that 10-year period, for you to be happy with the progress you made, not just financially, but physically, spiritually, with your family, your kids, your grandkids? See, now I'm being sincerely interested in them. They open up and I develop a relationship. And when I do that, then I'm able to make them not feel so isolated. And so I give them confidence. When you have relationships, you give people faith and confidence in a brighter future. That's the greatest gift I can give people, is confidence. And so by developing relationships, I give them confidence, faith, and that clears up the feeling of isolationism. Now, they feel powerless, so how do you cure that? You empower them. You give them new capability. And how do you do that? You use creativity. So all of this that I'm going to show you and that I've been teaching you, it's being creative. So let me summarize all that. You have no idea how powerful this is. Any great person that has ever walked this planet has used this formula, whether they realize it or not. When people feel confused, isolated, and powerless, you clear up confusion, isolationism, and powerlessness with what? Clarity, confidence, and capability. I call them the 3 C's. Clarity clears up confusion, okay. Confidence, they no longer feel isolated. And creativity or capability makes people feel more capable, empowered. They don't feel powerless. How do you do that with LRC? Leadership gives people clarity, new direction. When you develop relationships, that gives people faith and confidence in a brighter future. They don't feel isolated, that they're just a loner in their set of circumstances. When you use creativity, that gives people new capability and they no longer feel powerless. You deliver those 3 C's to your prospects and they will come back again and again, because if you do that better than anybody else does in their life, especially about money, you will have them for lifetime clients. So to do that, I like to keep them balanced in the 4 buckets here. So when people come in and I'm looking at their assets, I told you one of the key things that I tell people, hey, I want to first of all show you if you were to reposition some of your non-performing assets without increasing your outlay 1 dime, I want to show you 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road how much better off you would be and how much better your liquidity, safety, rate of return would be and the tax benefits by moving the money and assets strategically from here over to here. And then if that looks good and you want to put in more money, we can talk about that. And people go, oh, he's not here trying to get more money out of me. He just wants to show me how he can do better with what I already have. See, that's very non-threatening. So when people come, normally they would be way too top heavy in this bucket. This is what we call the investment bucket. So in the investment bucket, most people have money in yet to be taxed IRAs and 401ks, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And it's oftentimes, if it's a qualified plan, it's yet to be taxed, but it's in the market. It's subject to market volatility. I've told you in this educational series that Wall Street was designed to never sell, to never get rid of your money in the market. When they say, when's the best time to sell? Never. It wasn't designed to give you predictable income. It's too volatile. It was designed to grow your money, but not to give you predictable income and safety. So most people have 80, 90, 100% of their money in the company's 401k, in IRAs, in stocks, mutual funds, because they were following the herd. So my job is to get them to diversify, to balance, to get money out of here. I would say no more than 30% of your money should be in that bucket, or 30% of your retirement income should be in that bucket. Maybe none, based upon your risk tolerance. But see, most people are way too top heavy there. So I've got to start doing a repositioning program. Now, another bucket might be real estate. Not for all people, but it could be your personal residences and your investment real estate. Some people think real estate is the cat's meow, but most people who do have a lot of real estate, when they approach retirement, they're sort of tired. They tell me, Doug, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I'm getting really tired of taking out trash and fixing toilets, evicting tenants, and it's so management intensive. But I've sort of painted myself into this corner, and I'm trying to avoid a capital gain tax, and so I'm doing 1031 exchanges, and all I'm doing is inheriting a new headache for the old headache, and I don't know what to do. So I go, I understand. I frankly would not recommend you have any more than 30% of your retirement income coming out of that bucket. Really? Well, so what do we do? Well, if you don't like being a landlord, I would say sell, even pay the capital gain and take the net after capital gain tax at today's lower rates. I mean, frankly, a lot of political agendas to fund health care for all, Medicare for all, they want to do away with a step up in basis on long-term capital gains, and they want to change the capital gain rate from 20% up to 40%. And so, you want to get it out of there. You want to sell the properties, pay the capital gain tax at the lowest rate, and again, reposition it into something that's going to be tax-free from now on. When they see it going into a laser fund or a portfolio of laser funds, they are blown away. Many times they go, what? This equals or exceeds what I was getting in my rental income? Where have you been for 25 years? And I go, I've been here all along. You had your blinders on towards real estate is the cat's meow. And now you know better. Well, golly, what am I going to do with my time? Maybe enjoy life, okay? But sometimes they're flabbergasted. Sometimes they just don't want to manage it anymore. So I point them to real estate managers, and then they put their money into other properties. They do 1031 exchanges, and I've helped many, many people take a home in San Francisco Bay Area that they purchased 40 years ago for $230,000, and now it's worth $4.6 million. And they think it's a hot piece of property because they're renting it out for $10,000 or $12,000 a month. Do the math. That's pathetic. That's less than 2% rate of return. And so many times I point them to a specialist, and they sell the property, and they end up with 10 or 20 homes in Memphis, Tennessee, 5-bedroom homes worth $300,000 that rent for $3,000 a month. See, if that home in San Francisco is really worth $4.6 million, it ought to be renting for $46,000 a month, not $10,000 a month. And they don't know that until you tell them. And so you sort of can understand things. You don't have to be the jack of all trades, but if you understand where their money is, you can point them to people who can help them solve the problems, okay? And so you might want to have some repositioning of assets here, and that comes out of the real estate bucket. I would say no more than 30% of your income should come from that bucket, in my opinion. Now, the guaranteed bucket. What's that? Well, it could be a guaranteed income such as Social Security. It could be a defined benefit pension like being a school teacher or a police officer or a fireman. That's a pension. Other than those two, sometimes people will choose an annuity because annuities, even though I probably won't ever own one, people who like guarantees. In other words, if I ask somebody, would you rather be rich or would you rather be guaranteed that you will never be poor? A lot of people say, I want that one. I don't care about being rich. I just want to be guaranteed that I will never run out of money. I will never be poor. Well, if somebody says that to me, I go, well, you might want to consider an annuity for some or all of your money. If they say, oh, no, I don't worry about that, then zero comes out of there maybe if they haven't had a pension or whatever, maybe just Social Security. But if they say, oh, no, if I run out of money at age 85, I want to make sure I have an income if I live to be 120. I go, okay, then you need to look at an indexed annuity. The rate of return won't be spectacular, but at least it will give you guaranteed income if that's their number one priority. But I would say anywhere from 0 to 80% of someone's income should come from that based upon their risk tolerance. Can you guess what the last bucket is? It's what we call the tax-free bucket. Now, most people don't have hardly anything in a tax-free bucket when I meet them until they get educated and then they want one. Now, tax-free income. People say, what about Roths? Roths are okay, but they have too many strings attached. If you make too much money, you can't even own a Roth. And so a laser fund is called the rich man's Roth, and you can educate them about that. But Roths, you can only put in a certain dollar amount, a certain percent of your income. You can roll over from a traditional IRA or 401k to a Roth, but then you have to wait 5 years or till you're 59 and a half. And Roths don't blossom when you die and transfer tax-free. They don't have indexing where you can participate when the market goes up and not lose. Roths are subject to market losses if you have it in the market. There's all kinds of disadvantages to most Roths. So again, Roths only have 2 advantages. Laser funds have those 2 and 4 additional ones. Make sure you know that. Municipal bonds. I have some people that go, ooh, I like municipal bonds. Fewer and fewer people say that to me because there's a lot of municipalities that have gone broke, that have gone bankrupt. And it used to be people go, oh, a city, a county, they issue bonds, they can always tax. Well, that's true. But when they've seen actual cities go bankrupt, they begin to realize maybe that's not the best. But municipal bonds are tax-free, but they're low yielding. If a municipal bond is paying 4 or 5, my universal life is usually paying 7 or 8. I've always earned at least 2 or 3% higher than the municipal bond rates at any given time based upon interest rates. And so my favorite vehicle is, guess what? A maximum funded tax advantaged insurance contract, what we call the laser fund. So an indexed IUL policy fits over here. Now, what percent of income in retirement do I recommend you have coming from this bucket? I would say between 40 to 60% of somebody's retirement income be totally tax-free. The IRS knows they're receiving it, but they don't pay tax on it. Well, if they have most of their money here or some here, you need to start repositioning. And that's what people do. When people come to me, normally it was at retirement planning. And if they were way too top heavy here, I would start a 5-year or longer strategic rollout that we have taught you. I have another episode that is totally focused on strategic rollouts. And so that shows you how to roll the money out of here, get the taxes over and done with, and take the net after tax and put it in here and have tax-free income. And it doesn't really cost you anything at the end of the day because this is going to blossom when you die. So we roll money out of there into here. Sometimes people sell real estate and they put it into here. Sometimes we take money that's in here or pensions, or maybe an annuity isn't performing very well. And so what happens is we end up with 0 to 30% coming from here, 0 to 30 here, 0 to 80% here, but 40 to 60% is tax-free. You got it? What does that mean? This is a sample, an actual couple that came, and they felt pretty good. They sort of tapped themselves on the chest and said, we have $200,000 a year of income for retirement. And I said, way to go. Actually, that is really good. But the problem is, I said, it's all showing up on your 1040 tax return. They went, is there another way? I go, yeah. So right now you have $40,000 coming from, let's say, Social Security or the teacher pension, whatever. And the other $160,000 is coming out of where? It's coming out of this bucket. It's yet to be taxed. And it's in the market. It's subject to market volatility. Ugh. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I was in your shoes. And so let's start doing a strategic rollout of some of this money. Let's get $120,000 of that out of there over the next 5 years and fill up your Index Universal Life policy according to TAMRA. So we do that. We do the strategic rollout, we get it out of the market, we pass the liquidity safety rate of return test with flying colors, it's now tax-free. We look at that, and after 5 years, they have now $200,000 of income, but instead of having $54,000 in tax, which is where they were, and they only had $146,000 in net spendable income. When I'm through in 5 years, they have the same $200,000 of income, but we have $100,000 in this example of tax-free income. Actually, this couple, we moved out $120,000. You save tax in a 33% bracket on $120,000 of income a year. That's $40,000 of tax savings. If one of them lives 25 years, I save them $1 million. I'm being super conservative here. If I only changed out $100,000, half of this to the tax-free bucket, they have $200,000 of income, but half of it is tax-free. Well, that saves them a considerable amount of tax. They only have to pay $27,000 in tax, whereas before they had to pay $54,000. They went from $146,000 net to $173,000. Whoa, we do this all the time. But like I said, the couple that really inspired me to share this, we moved $120,000 of their $200,000 off of their 1040 tax return. And they've been thanking me ever since. They have the same $200,000 of income, but only $80,000 of it is showing up on their tax return. Now, the IRS knows they're receiving that $120,000 and it's tax-free because this is not a secret, this is not a loophole. So when we look at examples like this, we begin to understand that if we can balance people's portfolios, if we can go in there and don't try to hog all of their assets, just say, you know what, let's stay balanced, but let's reposition assets. Let's optimize those assets for liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax benefits. And let's move to where you have 40 to maybe 60% of your income in retirement that's totally tax-free. It's not deemed earned, passive, or portfolio income. Those are the only three types of income we pay income tax on. This is not a loophole. The IRS knows you're getting it. They know everything, but it's tax-free. And you can save, in that example, $40,000 a year in taxes. And if one of you makes it 25 years, we just saved you $1 million of unnecessary tax. Would you like to move ahead and do that? Yes. And so as you help people do that and diversify and stay balanced, they will begin to understand, yeah, whatever they did for retirement maybe wasn't the best in hindsight, but quit looking at trying to change the past. No, you look for the future. And when you give them a brighter future and say, hey, it doesn't matter, let's look what we have right now, let's reposition assets and save you $1 million of unnecessary tax. Let's increase your net spendable retirement income. Let's make sure you never outlive your money. Now you are giving them leadership, you're developing relationship, and you're using creativity, and you give them clarity, confidence, and capability, and they will no longer feel confused, isolated, or powerless. And you will have a client for life.